everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I started this video off as a stream and everything was great, and then my internet service provider absolutely fucking shat itself and just wouldn't fix. So I'm finishing it off just as a video. It's just going to be me talking to you, and then hopefully we'll have an actual decent bit of a VOD review at the end. Okay, so do we have mirror comps here? No, we don't. We have a breach on this side, and instead on this side we have a Reyna. On this side we've got the double duelists. On this side we've got the initiator instead, because they're not actually running an initiator on the side of XL, which is a big from me. I suppose in place of that with the Reyna, because you can start off with the Leers, you still have that initiative like prowess. All right, let's go. So Vitality is starting off on defense. XL are going to be starting off on attack. This XL team is brand new. We've still got so much to learn about them. So this is going to be kind of like I'm interested to learn. They pinged out vents. They put out the Leer. They're going to block off CT as well. So, and they've cleared out this bottom area too. So there's a lot of due diligence actually being done already, even though this is just an eco. They've cut off all of these routes in, cut off CT, cut off CT here. They cleared out this little area here. They used the Leer to actually engage in onto the site. So that's that whole thing that I was saying. Like, they don't have an initiator, but they'll be using the Reyna for the initiative abilities because she has the Leer. So this is interesting now, because one of the things that I mentioned about the way that Vitality defended that last round is that they had the cam over on the opposite site to the one that they were stacked on. But in this case, that's kind of different. But what this means is because they have the weapons disadvantage, they have the range advantage because they're all holding sheriffs, but it is technically a weapons disadvantage because they're still on an eco. But having the camera here looking down into like A main ramps area, that means that they don't have to peek. So they'll know if/when XL move in, and they don't have to take unnecessary risks. And they're taking a control of A heaven here, and you can see that control has actually been relinquished by Vitality as well. They didn't really have to fight for it. So Vitality is stacking way more on the site here, with, I suppose, the aim to make it harder to plant. But what that has done, and especially with the use of this wall here by XL, is it means that they have a total free route into B. Vitality move back, they push back into CT, they're all like gathered around on A. Cool, let's cut that off so they can't see us, and let's just like yeet ourselves over into the B site. We know that no one's there. We had Cypher doing like a flank watch to be sure. We know that they had to rotate the whole way over. Their Astra backed out. We know they're occupying that CT area, that screens area up towards A. This is a free path. There isn't a really strong defense so far towards mid, so there's nothing that's going to impede them. And the use of the wall's been really good here. They didn't have the wall to cut off CT from B heaven, so they used a nebula there instead. So these have been pretty coordinated Astra utilities so far. Now Shadow, in theory, like, could get a kill here if there were someone to get a kill onto, but there isn't actually anybody in B heaven. This is quite ballsy from XL, I think, to be pushed so far forward. And yes, Sender getting that kill and Cadaver as well. I'm not necessarily a fan of that, because what it's done here is it's left B heaven open without anybody watching onto it, because they got a little bit pugnacious in Garage when they didn't necessarily need to. In my opinion, I would much prefer a team to just hold on to angles that surround the spike so that there's no real point of ingress into the site. XL didn't do that. They moved forward a bit too far. We've got our Sage up here who's kind of watching CT because they don't know where the rotate's going to come in from. They know they don't have anyone holding on to B heaven, so that's kind of an open area right now for Vitality to move in through, and no one's watching it. Usually you'd like someone to be up in this corner here, maybe even down here, but so far there isn't that. So we've got a big open area. Now that doesn't mean a crossfire can't be established from here, but right now they're holding on to the high ground. They might be able to... Who have they got left? So Astra, we can't actually see like where her stars are or anything, but she could in theory put like a nebula here, right? And deny the Sage the opportunity to be able to hold a line of sight onto the spike. And these two are going to have to commute around the pillar here. Like, they're going to have to come through here and face this sort of open area. So it's a bit awkward for XL. She's placing her stars. So, okay, so she didn't... Instead of placing a star on the CT entrance, which I thought she might do to deny that line of sight to the sage, she actually placed the star onto the spike to try and help Shadow get the plant. I'm not a huge... Oh, the defuse, sorry. I'm not a huge fan of that because you're putting yourself in harm's way because you know that this channel is now open. If you die, which Brahms just did, then this is not going to be difficult for those 3 remaining attackers to actually engage onto. They can buy up now, though. And already you can see they're kind of placed a little bit more around the map. So I'm assuming here that Cadaver... Okay, it's Cadaver who's on Sage. I'm assuming there's going to be a wall placed in the center of mid at some point. Obviously, there's the Slorb. Okay, so they haven't gone for a wall. They've gone for a Nebula and combined with the Slow Orb. So he's still holding on to the wall. That can still be used for the same purpose. But, like, at this point, XL haven't shown any fear in pushing up mid. They're going to need someone to clear this. Obviously, no one is there to be cleared, but you want to always have someone who's checking that. The fact that there's so many of them together means that shouldn't be too hard, but usually you'd expect to see, like, a boombot sent up. But in this instance, they've actually decided to move quite, like, quickly through mid, despite what was there to try and hold them back. That was unfortunate, Cadaver getting caught out there. So, again, this is this same wall from XL being used here to cut off CT. I'm a big fan of this wall. I think that Vitality could have done more to hold back mid. If XL are going to prove themselves to be a team who are not afraid, they either need someone defending in vents, or they need to use something like the barrier orb across mid so that it takes XL longer or more resources or give away more information to actually move through there. Because had there been a barrier orb, they've either got to wait, which wastes their time, or they've got to shoot it, which... yeah, uses their resources, but it also will alert through sound cues. It will alert Vitality to which way they're going. You know, obviously they've placed this tripwire here to prevent XL moving forward, but I think having a defender in vents is going to make it more effective for them to actually hold mid in the first place. I don't think this risk of them going through A heaven is as bad as what just happened here, because now they can just bulldoze their way through. That getting a couple of kills, however, pretty good. So we had that, I mean, I want to say, like, trade. Now they've got a tripwire, a cage, and a nebula in here, which means that the only way that Brahms can come through is, I mean, he could have come through this way, but that would have taken quite a long time. Now, here, if these two work together, you could have, like, this trade potential again. I don't know how many cages he's holding on to. I'm going to assume both of them because I don't know a reason why he would have used his cages so far. So a cage could be used to cut off Garage, for example. That could be really useful. Oh, okay, he doesn't have cages. If he had cages, that would be a really useful place to put the cage. That's a shame. I think that had Vitality had that utility available to them, that probably would have been better. The other big loss here, guys, that you have to remember, of course, everyone knows it, is usually if you don't win the eco, you expect to win round 3 because you will have the weapons advantage. That didn't happen. How many of XL were alive at the end? 3. So they can go and pick up those weapons. That's 3 free rifles that XL now have. So as I mentioned, 3 of these rifles will have been for free, which is a great boon for XL's economy. Okay. Lear, but they wait for it to come around. That was a really nice play off of it. Just good crosshair placement. They knew where the players were going to be. They were prepared for it. Paint Shells is going to hold them back, and that actually gives Vitality some time to retreat and try and take some more control of spaces they find important. So I suspect that they're going to have someone... Please have someone holding vents, because you know they're going to rotate through mid. Are they doing it? Looks like it. So, even though XL are not actually rotating in through mid, and XL have probably read into this, right? But one of the issues that Vitality was having the last couple of rounds is they didn't have really strong mid control, which just meant XL had it for free. So I'm glad that Vitality is showing that they've kind of adapted from that. It just so happens that XL are like one step ahead of them. Now, this Shadow could use like some utility against this gang, But I don't think, yeah, he doesn't have the time really to do it, and I don't think he can buy enough off the back of it. Another Lear, great wall again. Not that this is a particularly complicated wall. This is a really old wall in Valorant, but it's still nice to see that they can kind of use the Lear and the wall together to ensure that they get a really fast entrance into the back of the B site, especially considering the fact XL relinquished the mid rotate. So XL decided they weren't going to rotate in through mid because they figured Vitality would actually hold there. So they went all the way around through T. They know as a direct result that Vitality will have had a shorter commute to B. So they need to have a really fast push into B because they know that Vitality are going to meet them there. So they get over in the corner. Defender slow orb. This defender slow orb is kind of confusing to me because unless they're just expecting XL to get really aggressive. Also, this is such a risky res, knowing that fucking VAC is right here. That res could have gone wrong so easily. I mean, is this a cam? It's kind of hard to see with the purple in the background. Yeah, it is a cam. Okay, so they know that VAC is following them up. VAC still got the kill onto Chihuahua, though. That's quite a big flank. We just have Aussie who's got to deal with this. Now, they'll, of course, know where this flank is coming from. Like, they know where the last player is because he's just fucking killed 2 of their people. And I said the res was really ballsy, and then they got it off, and then it was like, okay, they got the cam, they know he's coming. So not only that, not only did they have all that information, they got a decent res, but then both of them got killed. So that leaves open this avenue. It also means the res has been wasted. It means that there's no trade potential whatsoever, but it does also mean that XL know exactly where coming from. I don't know if Aussie has stars available. I like this planting in this corner over here is going to buy them some time. So yeah, they're aware that they don't really have anything to prevent VAC from pushing up. So plant over in the other side of the site. It makes it kind of awkward for VAC to be able to get there because the positions that XL want to take to hold the post plant really want to be on this other side of the site. So this is a great position for that, but it also just means that they had some more time to plant. I don't know why they weren't looking there, by the way, because the barrier orb is still up. The barrier orb is still up, so they know that he can't have come in through this way. So the fact that they weren't looking behind them is a little confusing to me. I mean, I guess they were trying to get up to heaven, so they wanted to use the rope, but I still think they should have had, like, one eye behind them. XL keep doing this stacking onto the A site to attack. So to actually have Shadow over here so that he can fault line down into there is a good move there from Vitality, I think, because they were getting pretty good control of ramps and A heaven. That's such a shame for Chihuahua because, again, he should have been aware. This is another instance, I think, where Chihuahua, like, has the cam there. I mean, he's not looking at it. I think that's the problem. He's not looking at the camera, where he totally had the ability to be aware of what was going on there and just didn't. This will be kind of a hard one to hold, I think. I guess they're going to try and sandwich these two, but it's still difficult because... oh my god! I was going to be like, it's still difficult because it puts so much pressure onto... like the individual players because they're not directly coming in as a 2 versus 2. Also, this is the second time that XL have now wasted Vitality's res. So I'm gonna be heading in at this point. This is where I've just started filming. I'm not on stream anymore just because of everything that happened with my internet. So we'll be going in from here. So we're heading into round number 7, not round number 6, sorry. Vitality have been having a bit of a rough go at it. They've got to be heading straight back into an eco. In that last round, we had a second instance of not just Aussie getting a 3k and a really clutch 3k, but also Vitality using their res and it immediately being negated by XL. So XL have a pretty decent lead here. Now, once again, Vitality have set up so they can have this initiative utility to block what's happening here on A. So the potential to use the fault line. Instead of doing that, they've just decided to push up. The fault line came in a little bit late, but they managed to get rid of Chihuahua anyway. Now, actually, I just want to note that this is the first round, as far as I can remember, where most of XL look to be attacking in through B rather than through A. Cosmic Divide to make it harder to actually push into the site. Another thing that they've been doing a lot of is, you know, using the Leer combined with the barrier orb so that they can make a really swift push, and they've actually responded with their own Cosmic Divide. What that basically does is it means that Vitality don't know what XL are doing here. They don't know if they're pulling out. They don't know if they're pushing forward. The only person who's really there who can make those kinds of observations is Sender. He's not really going to move. He needs to be holding onto that site. So that's given XL some time for them to be able to move the entire way through T so that they can go all the way up to the A site. And because that mid area was free, it basically means that the Raze has free reign to enter into A heaven as well from where she was. Easy plant. Now Vitality are going to have to actually start making their rotate back around. And we've seen this a few times. XL have been pretty good at setting up for their post-plant positions. This is a very aggressive position from Patty Tech, throwing out the paint shells, and the Boombot's going to follow as well. Once again, we'll be holding Vitality back into CT, which is really difficult. They have to try and get aggressive. The Showstopper is the best way to be doing that. Great. And actually, none of these trades that are coming from XL, are really that valuable because they're constantly being returned. So it was a decent response there from Vitality to get aggressive in the way that they did. I think, you know, you can always argue that XL could have stayed a little bit further behind and just held angles onto you know, onto the spike itself, which I think there have been a couple rounds now where I've kind of criticized the way that they do that. But what this does mean now is that Vitality actually have some guns and XL on an eco, so it could be a shift of economy now. This is very similar to what happened with G2 when they were playing against Vitality. They had a really woeful beginning of the game. And once we got to kind of this place in the rounds, then they started to shift the econ story. Oh, this is interesting to me that they've actually used 2 tripwires here. What they've been doing quite a bit is just having the 1 tripwire at the top of ropes going into A heaven, but here they're actually trying to block off ramps and block off vents as well. These have both been areas that have been exploited pretty well by XL. They've been very good at getting quickly into ramps, even when Vitality have been able to use things like fault lines in onto them. Oftentimes they'll send their Rays to just kind of spring over with the blast pack, and then they'll place a star here, and you can actually see there is a nebula right there, to allow the others to move up. But with the tripwire there, that's going to give Vitality a lot more information, because I think A heaven has been an area that's been taken by XL quite a bit so far. Okay, they've gone through the tripwire. So I guess they're expecting them to come in from behind, but then the second tripwire is going to have to be tripped. Barrier orb going down, perfect. Now paint shells, he had the line of sight. He knew they were coming in. That was a real great shot from Mo. Now Shadow knows that Mo is here. Mo has been doing some really good shots so far. I'm honestly pretty impressed. So now Brahms is on his own. Now if I were him, I'd probably back off, because this is their first kind of economic advantage round. You don't necessarily want to throw that away. Just keep what you have. It is going to cost Vitality quite a bit to buy up everything that they've had. And of course, XL being able to pick up free rifles is great for them because they're playing on an eco this round. Are they going to bring Shadow down here? There we go. Yeah, come and sit here. Come and sit right here. Fault line right down there. There's no one really to act off it, though. I mean, Sender could. Yeah, there's the fault line. But, like, Sender could, but given his role, I don't know if he wants to get super aggressive. Although he is stepping out. He wants to kind of hide in here. That's why that smoke is there. I think he's going to find himself getting into trouble. That's one nice kill. Oh, my God. Okay. Yeah, the cage goes up so he can actually get out, but the paint shell's still a problem. So he's taken some damage in that. He got a kill that wasn't traded, so that's definitely valuable, being able to use his cage to do that. Now, I'm curious to see if what Shadow's going to do here. Like, could it be that he's going to Aftershock through here to try and open this up? Or are they going to come around here and work together from there? Because, like I said at the beginning, no one's really close to that ult, so it's not like a Rolling Thunder is about to be on the board. Nice kill from Patty Tech. Using that, the barrier orb against them as well like that, rather than just to cut it off, but also to be able to get the advantage in the kill around there is pretty good. Aussie has been a machine. Like, if anyone is going to get this 3K, it's going to be Aussie. 1, 2. Ah, fuck. It could have been Aussie, okay? So this is kind of rough. They do have a couple rifles on this round. And XL are looking to pressure mid. Now, this is the first time that XL have been slow about their pressuring of mid. Sending out the boom bot, using the smoke in the way that they're doing, and then coming into Lear, into Mail like this. The last time that we saw them do a full mid push was one of the first few rounds, and they were very fast about it. Now, we've got the defenders coming up to kind of hang out in ropes here, and I like that XL are checking for that. But you really don't want the risk of losing the spike there, I don't think. Had to move forward to plant the barrier orb as well. That I kind of like the attempt there from XL. They're like, right, we need to turn around and we've got to gun down these guys who are in ropes because we're looking to back out or we don't want to be flanked or whatever. Obviously they were ready. So we had a few trades there, leaving it in a 3 versus 3. Patty Tech actually holding on, so he has the angle into B Heaven. I like that as well, because usually they'll cut off B Heaven or the CT entrance of B Heaven with a barrier orb. They don't have that option. So holding that is going to be really important. Vitality getting a res, also big. If this works, then cool. This will be the first res that Vitality have gotten like good value out of, because Cadaver's reses haven't been that great. Aussie first getting a kill. This guy is a fucking machine. Honestly, I'm such a fan of this Aussie Astra. This is my favorite. And yeah, just that 4 versus 2. 4 versus 2, by the way. So like the slow orb, there's no one in there. Patty Tech can turn down, and they're getting lured into B Heaven while Aussie has the direct line of sight. And he has relative impunity while taking that line of sight because Vac isn't pushing through the nebula. Look at this. We stand this. We stand the Reyna defending in vents. I wonder if they know that we got this guy right here. He'll be there to like immediately punish. Okay, so they didn't know. And XL can get a couple of kills off of that, which is pretty good. And with the spike drop right in the garage entrance as well, that is such an awful place to try and recollect it. Considering the fact that there's a Defender Nebula that was right here. This Defender Nebula in... Come on, bring me back to garage. This Defender Nebula right in the garage door means if you want to recollect the spike, you got to go on the other side of that. That's a lot of utility that's been invested by the defenders early. The barrier orb and the slow orb, just because the barrier orb opened. Here's the thing though, so they have more defenders over here towards B, but they have more of like a site setup over towards A. So I guess they've left this path open, but knowing that it's going to be hard to engage onto the A site. Okay, moving around, so they're going to be moving in to go on garage. They want to clear out A Heaven as well. That's what that fault line was for, was to try and clear out this corner. But there isn't actually anybody there. But it is a massive bait. And you can actually see XL starting to realize that. They went for the rotate up through CT. And now they're turning around because they realize that the B site is going to be left open. So that should be a free plant for Vitality. And yeah, so free defuse. So that, I mean, XL had a pretty good time there. XL have actually really impressed me because they've basically brought together these 5 relatively experienced players. We do have one exception, but it's been a while since most of them have actually been on a big team. And I don't believe any of them have been teammates in the past either. So the fact they've brought these 5, you know, decent players together who may be lacking a bit of recent experience and actually bringing this new project on, and they seem to have really nice synergy so far. The way they play is really coordinated. I was particularly fond of Ozzy. I love the way that he used his Astra utility, and it was a cherry on top that he's such a good gunner. But also to have kind of made a bit of a brave decision to not play an initiator, but then rely solely on the Reyna. XL are going to be facing against G2 Esports in the upper bracket of the closed qualifier, and I'm excited to see how that's going to go. I really hope it's a close game. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Let me know which VOD reviews you'd like to see in the future, and I will see you in the next video.